Congrats, Anon. This barbecue you made is delicious. No, you did not make it. It's like saying I made the Big Mac I bought last night while drunk. Do you know how hard it is to get the perfect amount of fat on the cow? How hard is it to take care of her? Hell, even butchering it takes way more skill than cooking it. So no, you did not cook that beef. You just made the minimal effort to make it a little more tasty. He didn't press his own vegetable oil. He didn't grow his own potatoes and beans for sides. He used herbs not from his personal herb garden. He didn't forage his entire set of cookware. He didn't tap his own gas deposit under his house. You did not cook the food. You cheated not only the culinary arts, but worst of all, you cheated yourself. Have a few Canadian friends on Discord. They're all obsessed with Tim Hortons. Go on and on about how it's the best place ever, I should be jealous, etc., etc. Normal Leaf shit. Eventually get to visit them to watch my city's hockey team play theirs. They insist on Timmy's the morning of. Try it for the first time. It's remarkably the most average coffee and food I've ever eaten. Don't have the heart to say it, I act like it's amazing. They're quite happy. Fast forward to the game. Blues go on to shut out Oilers 2-0. Everyone's piss-ass drunk. I'm happy and everyone else is sad. Jokingly suggest Timmy's. Everyone agrees. It was genuinely delicious the second time. Realize you simply have to be drunk and then it's awesome. Leafs are the damnedest creatures, but I'm growing fond of them after realizing they're fucking wasted half the time like the rest of us.
Try Byzantium Run. Do everything normally. Build army and alliances. Wait for Ottos to declare on some Anatolian minor. They declare on me instead. Restart. It happens again. Over. Be me, your average Anon, living in my mundane existence, same old routine every day. One night, have a dream that I'm living in Australia. It's literally just a tiny island in Asia full of white people, and we have no clue how they got there. I wake up and I don't feel like this is the same universe. Everything is sunnier, happier, and just overall better. My face when I question if I've died, and this is some kind of heaven Australia took me to. Anons, is it possible that Australia is a divine force offering a glimpse into a happier reality beyond our mortal understanding?
Absolutely based cause of BTFOing slave drivers and keeping a republic unified and powerful. First real use of submarines in combat, hot air balloon recon, Richmond, Petersburg, and overland campaign bleak foreshadows of World War I. Coolest music to come out of any war in the modern era. The feeling when you will never charge muddy trenches, the feeling when you will never see beautiful fields in France torn up with shelling and trenches, the feeling when you will never sit in the rain all night, the feeling when you will never be sleep under artillery barrage, the feeling when you will never sleep under both, the feeling when you will never bayonet someone to death, the feeling when you will never get stabbed with a serrated German bayonet, the feeling when you will never stagger back to friendly lines after a rout, the feeling when you will never shove a grenade in a bunker, the feeling when you will never be buried in a mass grave, the feeling when they will never build a temple in your name in your hometown. In Fallout 3, there's a quest where you appeal to the people's empathy to allow ghouls to coexist with them. When some want to be kind and accept, you let ghouls in. If you leave and come back, every human has been killed by the ghouls. It is a ghoul-only hotel. What did Todd mean by this? Do a Matsu hunt all the time solo. Just tank and heal the huge AoE it does on the ground, just like Altreon in World. Do the quest in multiplayer. Other hunters all wirebug into the sky and stay there like the cowards they are to avoid the AoE. Heh, you forgot your crown. Select random. Start in Wales as Count. Slowly expand. Various legendary figures. King of Wales marries active Queen of Scotland and fights for her claim. Gradually chip away at Anglo-Saxons. The leper emperor of Prydain, who lived to age 80 or something. Holy wars in the Baltic and then a crusade into Russia. Crusades are a success and Christendom spreads to the Holy Land and North Africa. Fight crusades and win some land. Welsh culture spreading across the world. Lay claim to Venice, invade it and make it my capital. It has a nice garden that gives me longevity. I will probably build more imperial cities like this and build wonders on them. Intrigue on the continent for years and years. Then in one swoop manage to fight for claims to Germany and France. Also have scions of my dynasty with claims on the Byzantine Empire. Now huge. This is where I left off months ago. I am near the tipping point where I can contend with the rest of the world at once. Get summoned for boss. Die before the host. Leave the zone out of embarrassment so the host can't resummon me. Am I the only one who does this? The victim is Jonathan Bedford, 24, works for the local government. To me it seems he died peacefully. Poison? No, dear Watson, there is not a single crumb of poison or a splash of drink in his house. From his clothes I see he did not spend a lot to appear presentable, just the bare minimum. Then sickness? Good theory. I suspected heart ailment from his lack of exercise and hygiene, but it is not that, I'm afraid. Let's see. He was covered with a blanket from the waist down, so he was comfortable and expected to stay here for quite a while. The kitchen has no food, but the trash is full of fast food wrappers, which means that he ate before he sat down, or the killer ate the food. The room is mostly bare, but this wall is full of video games, PlayStation 2, Xbox, Nintendo. He must have been an avid gamer, yet one shelf is empty. Several consoles gather dust here. I guess he used them before, but stopped recently. The dust is thin and uneven. Exceptional. He probably played with this one, the PlayStation 5. There's even a game box next to it. Starfield by Bethesda. I think nothing really stands out. My dear friend, there is a lot that stands out. The most important one is the game box. The game is not even released yet and is developed by the console's direct competitor, so this would not even be released for this game console. The box is a fabrication. Then he must have played some other game then. His wall is lined with them. That is where it gets peculiar, Watson. I think it was the killer that wanted us to think he was using the console. There is no other possibility. How did you come to that conclusion, Holmes? The man here seems to have spent much of his time playing video games. It is very simple, my friend. The killer was not familiar with the hobby, as they have made this otherwise unnoticeable mistake. So? The PlayStation 5 has no games, Watson. Does absolutely nothing except murder and replace people with synths. This is a necessary evil to save humanity. Okay, how exactly does murdering and replacing people with synths help humanity? No point in explaining it to you. You're clearly too fucking stupid to get it. By the way, I'm dying and you're in charge now.
Senior year of high school 2019. In photography class working on shit in Photoshop. Open up a can of Dr. Pepper and put a straw in it. Can hear girls behind me giggling. What the fuck is wrong with people? Yes, I'm still pissed off about this.
Playing Search and Destroy. Grenade double kill, triple kill from dudes lined up in a hallway. Execute sniper who appears to have his audio off. Finish with 11-1. Next match. Sniper who can pick me off at distance just as easily as hipfire blast me like sniper is also a shotgun. SMG guy with insane movement who kills me even when I get the drop on him and shoot and hit first. Riot shield guy who's good at avoiding and countering normal anti-riot shield tactics and knifes me. Teammates spectating call me a bot and trash. Finish 1-9. Why can't I get anything in between these two? Why can't I have an actual good game?
Got these at a bookstore. I am insulted that you would put a piece of classic literature next to schlock for teenagers like The Great Gatsby.
Proscribed nihilist M. Testelikov arrived in the village of Y to act as a tutor to the daughters of the merchant Zaivatovsky after spending 4 years in Siberia for the heinous crime of insulting the Tsar and, incidentally, 27 counts of rape. One spring night, following a disputation on the subject of whether the Turks should be slaughtered to a man or merely forcibly Russified in the parlor of the widow Kornilovna, a drunken Testelikov disturbed her samovar, prompting her suitor, Captain Kokfoldlovich, to challenge him to a duel. The two desperate men met on a birch-draped island in the midst of the swollen river Ob, with their seconds and the beguiling Kornilovna observing from a nearby carriage. When offered the choice of swords or pistols, Testelikov suggested they instead duel with words. For this, he was beaten about the head shoulders by the enraged artillery captain, and told he would duel with pistols or die like a dog on that very spot. Bleeding badly, Testelikov threw away his shot, firing into the water. The captain took precise aim, prepared to deliver the coup de grace to young nihilist when the young monk Rapinal burst forth from the tree line and demanded, in the name of God, that the men stop the proceeding and reconcile then and there. Moved, Kokfoldnovich approached his foe to embrace him, upon which Testelikov stabbed him in the throat with a letter opener, killing him. The victorious Testelikov proposed marriage to Kornilovna, and was gladly accepted, but before any wedding could be carried out, died of consumption the next night. The widow, Kornilovna, went mad with brain fever and drowned herself in the winter of that year. Rapinal, disgusted, withdrew entirely from society, only to be sodomized to death by bandits while returning to his monastery some 3 years later. Buy new headphones. Russian brand. Can't be that bad, right? Stereo only. USB 7.1 connector, no audio jack. Have to install separate drivers. Thought I'd get used to it. Dog shit audio quality making me legitimately nauseous. God has punished me. Playing game. Psyker blows up a barrel beside me for no reason. Annoyed. Fast forward a bit. Psyker blows up a poxwalker in my face. Tell the psyker they've made my shit list. Blow him the fuck up next to a barrel later and send him flying across the room. Type some shit in chat in a weird language. Still owe him one. Get to the narrow bridge on the power core metal fab map above the main shop floor. Shoot the barrel as the psyker tries to cross. It lobs him off the railing and back down below. Keck. Specials spawn. Me and one other guy just run off ahead. Psyker gets slapped about by Specials and Horde continues calling me something in chat. Tries in vain to blow up poxwalkers and barrels near me in the future but never succeeds. Know your place, nerd.
Play domination-friendly Civ who wants to warmonger the world into submission. End up being a beta bitch who befriends everyone while my massive army rots away in garrison and at my borders. Why am I such a fucking loser?
T, I finally figured out the problem with Super Earth.
Oh yeah? What's that?
The Stunads in charge are actually putting these giant bugs on all these planets on purpose. It's true, don't?
Jesus fucking Christ, Paulie. You can't believe everything you read online.
Think about it, D. They put the four-legged freaks on all these planets so they can send schmucks like us to clear them out while they dig for oil. It's all a big
Hey, Paulie, shut the fuck up a second. What the fuck is that thing coming out of the ground?
Marone, it's a Biotitan. D, we gotta get the fuck out of here. That thing will eat us up like we was gabagool.
Zebras are not just painted horses. Zookeepers are not CIA horse painters. They are real and neat animals that use their stripes to dazzle predators. Do not go to the zoo and ask to see the horse painting station. You will never get laid if you do this. Takes over half of Europe in 24 hours. Controls the entire east coast of USA in 1 week. In reality, can't even capture the capital of the poorest Europe country. Why video games keep overestimating the Russia's strength, while the real deal is China? Be me. M17. I'm pretty stupid and broke, so decide to sell fake drugs. Start filling a few bags with oregano and selling to freshmen. Kids actually believe it's weed and buy some. My face when they fake being high and then come back to buy more. One day, called to principal's office. There's a cop in there. They ask to search my bag. My face when all they find is oregano. My face when I say I'm making pasta after school and my friend gave me some oregano he grew to use. My face when they can't do anything, so they send me back to class. Always hear about how Michael Corleone is one of the most cunning characters in film history. Finally watch The Godfather expecting some galaxy brain Machiavellian shit. His master plan was just to fucking shoot everyone he doesn't like. Bought a $1 lottery ticket. Won $16. The way to get the new ending content for Definitive Edition is pure that kid shit. Dude, if you sleep at the first campfire, you get to fight the strongest boss in the game. Dude, run off the side of a cliff in the pacifist village. Dude, just wait in a cave for 3 minutes for a squirrel to drop a goldfish. Dude, if you spam the truck skill, you get a special water. Dude, you have to arrange all the special items in order based on a poem from the secret cutscene in Painful, and so on. 1,600 yen for a pancake? Yeah, seems reasonable. $16 for a pancake? No way, I'm keeping my money. Now I can't look at prices in yen the same. $42 for Hawaiian pizza. Holy fuck. 14,000 yen for a coffee that restores all MP? Nice, I'll take 20. $140 for a fucking coffee? Get out of here, I don't care how good it is. I'm never visiting your shop again. Dumb character calls everything a conspiracy. Character becomes disillusioned and starts tearing down the conspiracy wall. Protagonist detective picks up one of the scattered notes, realizes conspiracy character had accidentally stumbled on a critical clue to the current case. Alcoholic schizo blames all his problems on a conspiracy, gets mocked by family and so-called friends, dies fighting whilst drunk when the conspiracy is true. God bless this United States of America. Amen. Be Zoomer. Don't really know too much different comic eras, just read what I like. Read Grant Morrison's JLA for the first time. Superman is blue and glowing. No explanation why. Look it up. Find out this is known as Electric Blue Superman. Go on Co and ask people if they know about this. Only response I get is, it was the 90s. Find various forums where people have asked about him. Only response ever is, it was the 90s. Still don't understand why Superman was blue and glowing. I will never see a snake, I will never see a praying mantis, I will never see a turtle, I will never see a train, I will never see a jumping spider, I will never see a colorful butterfly. None of you know the essence of true suffering like I do. I summon them, Jerry, I'm amassing a great and terrible army. How would you run a Darkest Dungeons tabletop?
Take D&D. Turn all creatures into nightmare fuel. Give all monsters 3 times HP and half all PC HP. Triple monster encounters. Crank the difficulty up to 100. Add permadeath. Remove God. Make everything dark and edgy. Remove all hope for your character's survival. Remove all will to live. That's how you run Darkest Dungeon.
Order fries with no salt, causing the staff to cook a new batch. Put on salt myself. Everything in this world is part of my game. Be mining under prairie. Spotted a dragon earlier in the distance, but I was far enough from it. Suddenly I hear a horrifying roar I've never heard before. Oh god, oh fuck, something's digging the ground above me. Fucking run deeper into the cave. I can hear it flapping its giant wings, burning everything above me. Quickly try to build a base, but lacked wood to craft a station. All while fighting underground skeletons and zombies. After a while, I stopped hearing it, peeked out of the cave entrance that was different from the one I came upon. It was in a ravine a few 100 feet away. Quickly scurry into an abandoned shack in the opposite direction, surrounded by some partially burning woods. Later, look upon the area where I spotted a dragon beforehand. The face when they weren't even the same. Nothing has put the fear of God into me quite like Ice and Fire's dragons. Nothing else quite like it. Moses tells Pharaoh to let his people go. God decides to intervene and purposely harden Pharaoh's heart. This is an excuse so God can fuck over Egypt and kill thousands of innocent people. Pharaoh is seen as the bad guy here. Who wrote this? Be me. Get hit by a truck. My face when I'm isekai'd. Get shifted to a different timeline. My face when the only difference in this timeline is that Duterte never won. Go outside. No lockdowns. Roxas apparently closed the border for 2 weeks. Economy is doing well. 10% growth per annum. My face when people on Facebook are saying that there would have been 20% growth per annum if Duterte won. Yeah, right, you don't live in that timeline, lol. Duterte was apparently made Secretary of DILG to make him stop his ramblings of election fraud. All the macrosists died of a heart attack for some reason. Absolutely nothing in the news infuriates me. Only other thing noteworthy in the news is Vico Sota's vice presidential bid. Check's exchange rate. 30 pesos equals $1. Be you. You're in the Duterte timeline. Have fun. Another night of getting drunk and sobbing over the pointless waste of lives in the Great War. Is this autistic? I feel so sad for the millions of lives lost in a war that, now a little over 100 years later, nobody thinks about. The people of the time were so enthusiastic about warfare, yet none of them could see the horrors that would come with industrialized warfare. You were a soldier in your past life. Is this autistic? No, it's very thoughtful and empathetic. 14-year-old me in middle school. Have long emo bitch hair that covers my face, also rarely shower so it looks longer and greasier. Mom forces me to shower for a family event, makes my hair poofier and appear shorter. Next day, show up to school and gym teacher asks, "What happened to your hair? Did you cut it?" I simply replied, "Took a shower." Gym teacher laughs hysterically. A few quick facts you ought to know. The American colonies did not have taxation without representation. They were offered seats in Parliament and refused. George III was the furthest thing from the Hitler-esque figure he has been made out to be, just a harmless bloke who likes shagging his potato-faced German wife. The Boston Massacre happened when a rioting mob threw rocks at soldiers, and John Adams actually defended some of the latter in court and got them exonerated. None of the taxes in question were unreasonable and were all necessary to recoup the costs of the World War that George Washington started. It was entirely justified to retain armed soldiers on the Canadian border after 1783 in the event of American invasion. Impressment of sailors was also yellow journalism. They were trying to catch Royal Navy deserters, and no Americans were intentionally kidnapped. The U.S. lost most major engagements in the War of 1812. There were a few naval victories won by cheating when you used ships of the line you passed off as frigates to pulverize sloops half their size that were manned by totally green sailors. The burning of Washington was justified for you having burned York in Canada. The Battle of New Orleans was pointless and affected nothing as the war had already been ended about 3 weeks earlier, but it took a while for news to cross the Atlantic. The entire war was just a minor distraction anyway, because we had a real apocalyptic war to the death going on in Europe.
Be playing dwarf fort. Have a good fort going. Decide to give most dwarfs a year off to engage in self-care. After the year is over, decide to smooth the outer walls of the mountain and engrave them to look badass and project dwarf superiority to useless Elgi and Umgi. Suddenly, FPS tanks. From 60 to 10. What the fuck.jpg? What could be doing this? Suddenly see it. A river of green vomit. Realize dwarfs, when not exposed to sunlight for a long time, get violently sick and dizzy when they later go outside. Frames tanked due to practically every dwarf projectile, vomiting multiple times, with those going out to clean up the puke. Likewise, projectile vomiting. Take 3 months to do what should have only taken 3 days.
Do cargo stuff and generally exist. Mime breaks in to use the autolathe. Wormhole event starts. Chastise him and tell him I would have just let him in. He seems to get the message and waits for me to open the door. There is a wormhole under the door and I accidentally go into it. Teleported onto the solars north of arrivals. Die because I'm slow. Get to be a Borg for the first time in years. Choose medical because I know how the shuttle can be. Managed to help a couple crew members survive. I am content with that round. I didn't get much done, but it was a lot of fun. Start a game of Civ 6. Game is completely ruined 100 turns in because your explorer discovered the edge of the map. 5 out of 5 game. Watch old movie. Understand everything perfectly. Watch new movie. Can't understand a single word, not even with subtitles. Fifth Council of Cantopolis. Bishops spend 17 days and 22 hours arguing whether the Eucharist wine is symbolic of blood of Christ if the blood teleports to cup, or if he wine was literally Christ's blood all along, quoting Chungusian's 1488 versus Chodonian's 1769, end up calling each other heretics, bishops which are kicked out to go to Buttfuckistan. Emperor of the Holy Wholesome Empire, Edgar Friedrich IV Jr., wants more taxes, beefs with the Pope, has to then kiss Pope's ass. Bunch of bishops argue whether you need to do 2 or 3 fingers when doing the sign of the cross, call each other sons of the Antichrist, 2 million killed, 16 cities massacred to the last woman and child. Count Snipstein, who did the massacres, prays to Mary and Jebus for forgiveness that he killed a bunch of people.
Help, help. Cedric Diggory has been killed. Yes, Cedric Diggory, my main rival as Hogwarts champion and object of Cho Chang's affection, has been killed in the maze. Voldemort did it. He's been dead for 13 years, but he's back, and he killed Cedric. Don't ask how. No one ask how. There were no witnesses. Please do not look for any. The other 2 champions in the maze were cursed with Imperio. Don't bother fetching your Veritaserum. Professor Snape, I believe it's all been stolen. I am so upset right now. Has anyone seen Cho? When do I get the prize money?
Character throws something off screen. There's a crash and then a cat screaming. Buy car. Insured against theft. Set up CCTV footage near it. Record myself stealing it. File VIN and engine numbers, remove plates. Sell it on the black market. Claim insurance using footage. Buy newer, fancier car. So what's stopping me from doing this? Where's the flaw? Be Boleslaw III. Stupidly divide your kingdom among your 4 sons. They immediately attack each other. 200 years of revolts and civil war. Second largest film industry after Hollywood. 0 good films. Be me. Or not to be me. How old were you when you realized all of Batman's villains were modeled after the Bat's natural predators? Catwoman, cats, Killer Croc, crocodiles, penguin, penguins, Deadshot, assassins, Man-Bat, other bats. Ah, yes. The Bat's worst enemy. The Riddle. Walk into work. Coworker points at my hat and says, "Hey, that hat is a different color." I try and be funny. "You're a different color." He's Mexican. Georgia, that's a state, not a country. Its capital is Atlanta, bro. Turkey, that's a bird, not a country. Its origin is America, bro. Hungry? No, I just ate. Dude, if you have a clear save and start a new game and do a bunch of esoteric steps, you get a partner that becomes a demon that goes through an entirely new game. Trust me, bro. Okay, bro, listen. First, you have to beat the game normally, then you'll unlock New Game Plus. Go into the staff room and just interact with the sword painting now, and it will give you an actual sword. Use the sword to kill every enemy in the game, and then talk to the demon girl. Then you have to backtrack through the maze, and that one door you couldn't go in earlier will be unlocked to reveal an endless hallway. You have to keep entering doors in the endless hallway until you see a portal. Then you have to throw the sword in the portal and beat the game normally. Then you'll unlock the sword permanently. Just trust me, bro.